Good morning everyone, or afternoon, or evening, depending where you are. My name's Guy, and I'd like to offer one of these diamond heartfire transmissions. And this morning we're going to be looking at power, and what is power, and how does power operate in our lives and in the lives of those around us, and what does power really mean. So starting off, just taking a nice deep breath just to relax into presence. Big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and again. So, power is life. Power is the connection to life herself, in its deepest sense. But look at all the images of power that we've been fed and taught and trained to believe over the years. The way that power is presented in the media, through politics and the movies, and we've learned to believe in the corruption of power and how power can be a bad thing. And so people have been trained to fear power. Looking at power like this, people believe that power is a thing, something outside of you, something to acquire, so you can get power through status symbols, fast cars, lots of money, all sorts of different ways of owning things that people believe make you more powerful. Power can also be seen as achieving certain things. But this way we objectify power. We make power into an object. And when power is an object, it's something outside of us, something that we need to get. So it's something we don't have and something we need to get. So there's this search towards power. But how can we search towards something when we are afraid of it? Because what we've been trained to believe about power is that it's a domination, it's a fear, it's something that overtakes us, something we get overwhelmed by. So a lot of people do one of two things. One is that they either feel powerless in the face of circumstance and situations, or they go to an extreme version of power. They overexert their power, so it becomes some form of domination or manipulation or control. So what I'd like to explore in this session is how can we connect to power in a healthy way? You know, what is power? What is the real authentic relationship to power, and how can we reclaim this so that we feel powerful in our lives, powerful to express our creativity, powerful to express our love, powerful to express our projects and our dreams and our visions. You know, what would it be like to actually have that vital energy coursing through your veins, clearing your mind, opening your heart, so that you can actually feel the power of life herself expressing through you. So the first thing is to notice all the ideas of power that we've assumed, that we've downloaded or been unconsciously placed into our beliefs and ideas, this kind of pseudo matrix around power. So just identifying that first of all, and just noticing if you have any emotional reactions around that, if you have any kind of fear-based responses to being powerful, because these subconscious reflexes are going to deny you access to that which is already here. They become the filters through which we disconnect from our original nature. But we need to identify what's in the field first. We can't just skip past it and ignore the fact that we have these subconscious imprints. In fact, we have been manipulated and controlled and contorted and twisted and corrupted in our relationship to power. So in this moment, it's like take a nice deep breath. Maybe you just want to just shake out your shoulders, just to release yourself a little bit. Making space for something which is new. You know, perhaps just exploring this conversation from a really new place. You know, what would it be like to be like a child on this brand new earth and just exploring power for the first ever time? You know, what would it be like to actually have that direct connection to strength, to vitality, to feeling healthy, to feeling boundless in your system, in your beauty, in your love, in your expression? What would it be like to actually be so alive and enthusiastic? So really embracing power as a natural birthright. So the place I'd like to begin is actually in the what I consider to be the origins of power. So you can follow me with this conversation if you like. So one level of the conversation is, I want to be powerful. You know, it sounds like a pretty usual desire. It's like, I want something. But then we've got to look at the approach towards that. You know, what is the right way to receive that wanting? If I want something, sometimes it sends me on a journey, on a search somewhere else. So I end up looking away. You know, at the moment we're looking into role models of people who are corrupt with power. So, you know, how do you get some reflection of the actual mirroring of what you want? Where do you see good examples of this? So let's look in a different way. Let's imagine that you don't have to want power. It's about reclaiming what you already are. So it's more about discovering what's already here. So noticing that power is not a thing. It's not an object. You know, these symbols, you know, cars, money, houses, you know, status symbols, letters after your name, all these symbols, exteriorizations of power, are not power. Those are the symptoms of expressions of certain creative acts. You know, power is something which is foundational to life herself. And being made of life herself, which we all are, all creation is, arises from that place of infinite power. So connecting to that place where you can actually declare, I am power. Not I want power, but I am power. That we actually made of this vital life substance. Yeah? So maybe just take a breath into that. Just maybe say that to yourself, wherever you are. I am power. And see the difference between saying I am power and I want power. You know, want gets you looking, gets you searching, sets you off in a direction. I am power opens the place for discovery, self-discovery, resting inside yourself, like reconnecting to original nature that's right here, like right now in this conversation, in this listening. It doesn't have to go anywhere to get this, it's already here. The only difference between feeling the experience and imagining the experience is all these subconscious background noise belief systems that trip us up, that allow us to look away from what's already here. So do you want to carry on believing your beliefs, you know, that you're powerless, or that other people have power, or they have more power, or you want power? Or do you want to drop that and breathe in simply to the breath of life herself, the same breath that's been breathed by all beings, you know, the same vital substance that's enriching all beings, all of creation? Breathe in, feel, connect to what's already here. So just simply, deep, deep, deep place, looking inside, feeling inside, and saying internally or externally, I am power. Imagine that is communicating to all the cells in your body. You know, your fingers, your toes, your belly, your heart, your chest, your mind, everywhere. Every part of your being, every part of your body is feeling that connection. Right here, right now. And recognizing that you're made of this stuff. As you start to rest more and more and more into this presence, not the ideas of power, not the externalization of power, not the seeking of power, but being power, you start to rest into what could simply be called being alive. You know, you really come home to here. You know, the journey to self is not a long journey away from yourself. It's a journey of discovery. It's an unfolding. It's a revelation. It's a happening. It's a stripping away of all the things that are untrue. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. So it's the stripping away of ideas, of beliefs, of structures, of constrictions, of conditions. It's shedding skins, it's shaking it off, it's dropping this. You know, so that what remains is this natural, wild life force. In a very simplistic way, we can look at the psychology of the last 100 years with these two characters, Freud and Jung. This is very generic. Freud, in a way, was afraid of the sexual power and was busy trying to repress this, like putting a lid on a boiling cooking pot. Eventually the lid will get blown off by the pressure that's cooking up. So there's this school of thought which is about repressing and containing what's called the libido, or the sexual force, or the power force of life. which is repression and suppression and control. And when you start to live inside this approach, you become very disciplined, very head-oriented, very disconnected from emotion, disconnected from body. You abstract away from your animality. You start to judge any conditions of wild or strong expressions. So there's that kind of what could very loosely be called a Freudian approach. And apologies to all the other beautiful things that Freud has realized, but this is just in a very simplistic way. Yeah? So there's a repression of our life force. Then you have Jung, a student of Freud, and later development of Wilhelm Reich and other people like this who've taken this idea forward, of the liberation of the libido, the life force, the natural awakened life force that is us, is our foundation. And the teaching here is that as you liberate this force has its own indwelling intelligence. It doesn't need to be controlled from a mental idea. It's naturally intelligent. Like we have intelligence in our gut that knows how to be in the gut. We have intelligence in the heart that knows how to be in the heart. Intelligence in the brain that knows how to be in the brain. You know, we are full of different layers of intelligence as a human being, as a human body. And there's an intelligence which is natural to power. The power, when allowed to express, has its own wisdom. Life, when it's allowed to live, has its own wisdom. So we don't need to separate out from this. We don't need to create a personality construct and move away from power and like judge and assume and guess what power is and try and control power or manipulate or guide power. We can much more simply just be power, and from that power comes the wisdom of expression. I know about this profoundly from a dance perspective. You know, my brain is not quick enough to think of the dance moves that I do on the dance floor. I can't process, like, I'm going to move left or right or do this style or structure or movement or expression. No, I feel, I breathe, I let my feet move, I let my body move, I let my heart move, I let my being move. Because I know that there is wisdom in the movement, in the allowing of life herself. Yeah. Our mind, at best, is a descriptive mechanism. It's how I utilize my mind for describing events, describing experience. Yeah, it's producing the after effects of consciousness, the after effects of energy. So for me, the dance floor is a really good place to understand how power is in movement and expression. Yeah, we get into this great mystery where life is dancing us. There's no longer an us, there's just the dance. You're just being danced. You're just dance. And it's the same thing with power. Are you still seeking power, searching for power, wanting power, desiring power, or are you being power? Are you just power? You know, so when you just drop into this space of just allowing yourself to be the life that you are, then she dances easily, effortlessly, enabling all the expressions, all the creations, all the activity that takes place for us in the human field of experience. So just, right, let's just take a little breath for a moment, because I'm saying a lot of things. So just to give a few other distinctions. So there's these are different sort of maps, the different ways that we can look at power. So you can consider soft power or hard power, yeah? Or you could call this yin power, or the feminine power, or yang power, the masculine power. And this is not necessarily associated with our gender. This is more to do with qualities of experience that both men and women can experience inside of them. So in some moments we may need a soft power would look like a gentle, warm belly rub. You know, it's like a self-holding, like a creature comfort, holding myself in a natural containment in which I'm cultivating a sense of well-being. You know, this would be like a soft power, beautiful power, just holding power, just holding space, like enveloping arms around us. So it's a comforting power. So you're sitting into that presence. Yeah? Then a harder power is something which has got more direction. It's seed sowing. It's potent. It's penetrating. It's active. So it's the activity of this power, which is moving from within outwardly. Yeah? Like I was saying before, power is not something we get over there. It's something we bring over there, yeah, from inside. So every act of expression is a movement from inside to outside. It's this dance of withinness which is expressing and moving. So the yang power is about carving new realities, about creative expression. So just to have this as a moving distinction, you have this soft power or yin power, which is self-embracing, nurturing, receiving, undular, curvaceous, holding. It's a receptive power, a power of just being. And then there's the activity, the power of doing. Yeah, being and doing. So this is one way to understand power as a map. Hard and soft power, soft and hard power. And just to recognize in ourselves, how balanced are we in this? Are we always in the activity, always in the doing? Or are we always in the being? Or do we have this lovely balance, this figure of 8 movement between the being and the doing? Yeah. So how I feel, how I express, how I feel. Is this undulating? Is it in this natural pulsation, or is it jaggedy? It's like I do lots and then I rest on Sundays or something. It's like, so perhaps just consider how can we have more balance in this powerful expression of this inward power of being and this outward power of expression. So this is one way. So another map, which I like to use often, is the tree of life. So rooted power. Yeah. So imagine power going down deep into the earth, into the roots of life herself. Then you have branch power, which is reaching to the sky, to the stars, to the cosmos. Yeah. And then you can also imagine in between trunk power, and then you can also develop the idea into the blossom, the fruit. Yeah, so there's different layers, different movements of the power. So power having this sort of different aspects of expression. So looking at root power first of all. I've got this teaching which is about ground. I talk about 2 different types of ground. There's ground of being, and there's ground of body. Yeah. So ground of body would be a rooted power into my physical expression. So this would be grounded. I'd know where my arms and legs and body is. I'd know myself in time and space. I'd feel a sense of containment here and now. So I'd know my own physical boundary, and I'd know how I move through space as I interact with other boundaries and other people who are embodied. And that means all of creation, or the body of creation. So it's understanding my place as a physical being. Then there's ground of being, which is more to do with how to be centered in the heart. It's more to be centered into this infinite being that we are, beyond time and space, beyond our physicality, and yet somehow dancing within this physical realm. Jesus said, I'm in the world, but not of the world. So this is the balance between ground of body, rooted power, and ground of being, like rooted into the heart, into the mystical heart, into the cosmic heart. Yeah? So for me, there's these 2 different orientations of power as well. There's my physical power, which is expressed as health, rooted in daily well-being. It's having enough vital energy to express and to live and to do the things that I love to do as a human. Then my ground of being is more to do what I cultivate in meditation, or interior journeying, or just deep relaxation, or even sleep, or just dream traveling. Just that space of beingness, which is not dependent upon physical movement or circumstances or relationships. It's an interior reality. And they're 2 completely different orientations towards power. One is the power of expression, one is the power of presence again. So it's just another way of understanding this yin and yang as well. You can look at it through that aspect again, or you can actually feel into that as the exteriorization of your power, or the interiorization. So maybe just take a breath. I've got a lot to say on this subject, so I'll just try and slow down a bit. So another orientation of power, if we look at the location in the body of 3 centers, we'll just talk about the centers of the belly, yeah, the center of the heart, and the center of the brain. Yeah. And there's been various books written on like fire in the belly or fire in the heart. Well, not many people write books on fire in the brain, but it'd be quite interesting to have this sort of sensation of what would it be like to have fire moving through the whole of our system. Yeah, so what does fire feel like as it's expressed through the belly? So let's just explore that for a minute. Fire in the belly is more about moving through our instinctual nature. So it's like it's our primal needs. I don't know how you've been brought up or trained or understood things, but it's like for me, need has been a kind of interesting word to just, I need something. There's been some negative connotation to this often. But our physical body needs lots and lots of things: food, shelter, rest, comfort, embraces, to make love, to dance, to have celebration. And there's lots and lots of needs from our physical orientation through our belly. Our belly is like a soft animal. It's like our inner child, our belly. So this just to celebrate the hippo nature of our belly. So just like lots of warm baths and caresses and holding of the belly. So this is in the soft power orientation. And the more hard yang power is the expression of what we want. So it's taking a stand. It's like, I'm hungry, I need to go and get food, I need to cook. It's like I have this energy inside me, I need to express and get this out there. So that capacity to be instinctual and to follow that flow and to listen to the wisdom of the gut. So then we move up a little bit into the heart. It's like, what is the wisdom of the heart? What is the fire in the heart, the power in the heart? In one way we can look at this through intuition. We can look at the softness of deep, deep feeling, tenderness, empathy. So the passion of the belly, when moving through the heart, becomes compassion. So the way I understand compassion is it's an expanded passion. In the belly it's personal. As it comes through the heart, it becomes universal. So you can look at this kind of personal power, which we often feel in our guts, in our physical orientation, moved up to the heart, becomes the power of a dreamer. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, great visionaries of our time. So there's that fire in the heart, which has extension, expansion, inclusion. It's unconditional. It's moving from our being, which is not limited to this time-space reality. It's moving from that interior space and expanding out into the whole of life. So it's very important to have the fire moving in the heart if you want a sense of mission or purpose or place in the cosmos. And that sensation of passion and mission is very important for most beings. As we breathe up again, so the fire in the mind and up into the crown, there's this sensation of like having the brain awake, the whole brain awake. There's some beautiful studies called whole brain coordination. There's been different schools of thought. Some people just describe like the left brain and the right brain. That probably shows up differently on your screen. That is my left brain. Right, left brain, right brain. And the left brain is more about analytical thinking, structural thought. The right brain is more about sort of intuitive, artistic, sensorial experience. So this is a very simplistic way. So you've got this dialogue of the right, left brain. But then we can also look at it in a different way. At the back of the brain, we have the reptilian brain. Then we have the mammalian brain. Then we have the neocortex, which is more like the latest development of what we call the human brain. So whole brain coordination is to have all of this moving at once. Your reptilian brain, mammalian, and neocortex in coordination. Instead of what often happens is that this executive function of the neocortex takes control of all of it and decides how the mammalian brain will express and decides how the reptilian brain is going to express. So the reptilian brain is also connected to our stomachs. So it's connected to our guts, our instincts, primordial functions. Reptilian's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It has tremendous wisdom when you get into the reptilian brain, which moves down the brainstem. So I start listening to our instinctual realm. It's like great developments in health can happen. Incredible instinctual activity takes place. It's like basic things like navigating, knowing which is north, south, east, and west. Being able to find your way home. All these migratory features, obvious things. Most people are wandering around with Google and sat-nav all the time and don't even know where the shops are. So this sensation of like reconnecting back into your primordial ground, getting your feet onto the earth again, reptilian brain awake. The mammalian brain is our party brain. It's our social brain. It's the activity of hugging and gatherings and communicating and loving and feeling. It's like this coming together aspect inside of us. And the neocortex is all about this sort of vision and higher thought and belief and structure and calculation and all these things. So whole brain coordination in the same way of looking at the belly, the heart and the mind, when all this has fire in our system, we really feel powered up because we feel connected. So at the beginning of this conversation, if you've just come in, so I was talking about how we've been trained to externalize power, yeah, to believe power is somewhere else, something we need to get, something we need to search for or have, as if it's a thing, and actually dropping and moving through that idea to come back more into presence, that we are in fact power. I am power. You are power. The power is something which is to do with our birthright. It's our presence. It's our primary orientation to our connection to all this abundance of life. You know, we're made of the abundance of life. We are the fruit of life expressed. You know, how beautiful is this? You know, we really are children of life. We weren't born from original sin. We were born from original blessing. You know, we come from the original abundance of life, and we are a continuation of this abundance, an extending dance of this abundance. You know, this is our potential when we allow ourselves to be more fully who we are. So this description of waking up the fire in the belly, in the heart and in the brain, and having all this move together in whole brain coordination or whole being coordination, means that all the pieces fit together. Yeah, it's this self-discovery, it's this allowing of all these different layers of intelligence, so that our power can be fully incarnate. And just one last thing I'd like to share about power. So just one last image to give you. And since I've called these diamond heart fire transmissions, it's the diamond. Now I'm going to keep coming back to this image again and again. The diamond's got all these different sparkling facets, all these different angles on the diamond that make up all this twinkling beauty. And in Tibet they call diamond norbu, means precious jewel. And it's another description for us, that we are in fact a norbu. We are a precious jewel with many different shining facets. And sometimes we get orientated to living just from one or two or three of these different facets. So we kind of fixate on this particular focus. I'm just a parent, or just a lover, or just a dancer, or just an artist. You know, so you isolate into these different archetypal expressions. What would it be like just to, for a moment, just to take a deep breath and feel yourself as the whole diamond, and just get a sense of everything just like twinkling. So just like breathe in, feel your whole diamond nature. And just allowing everything just to be in its kind of twinkling, perfect place. You know? Then you open your eyes, and living becomes a point of focus. It becomes, what am I going to focus on now? Which facet of this diamond being that I am I going to focus on? Which is useful, appropriate, necessary, desired, dreamed right now? Yeah? So you move into this facet, which might be, I really need to express through my artist nature. I really need to dance now. I really need to cook now. I need to parent now. You know, I need to do some activity now. I need to rest now. All these are different characters that we have. I think it's more accurate to say that we're not one self. We're like a whole city of selves. You know, there's one being here, which is manifest all through these different sort of sub-personalities. Lots and lots and lots and lots of them. All these different facets of the diamond. And that makes the beauty of life, the variety of life. So I can get this image in my brain as I speak of this glowing diamond, and like everything being radiant in all directions, and actually moving through these different beams of radiance at different moments, you know, as appropriate, as felt, as intuited, as instinctualized. I think I just made that up, instinctualized. They're just really coming right through and allowing everything to be in dance and expression. So that's the image I'd like to leave you with. You are in fact power herself. I am power, you are power. And you're a shining diamond, Norbu, always have been, always will be. It's our potential to be powerful, to be fully alive, to be fully expressed. And this is our dance. Our dance is the focal movements through these different facets of expression, allowing our instincts, our heart, our brain to be fully awake, on fire. Fire in the belly, fire in the heart, fire in the mind. So we're all joy to express these. Just had this insight yesterday, I can just do this. So thank you very much for this technology. Thank you for listening. Please share this on to other people if you feel it's going to be useful for them. It's my intention to do many of these, probably at 11 o'clock, because that works for me and my schedule during the day. They are free offerings, but if you feel inspired at any point that you want to contribute something, please feel to do that as well, on PayPal. So my email address is on this page somewhere, so you can offer some money if you'd like to. But I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, powerful day inside yourself with lots of love, and a big hug to all of us. Bye-bye for now.